Welcome back to Good Morning K-Town. It is your breakfast show on KCBS TV. Our next guest is a senior medical consultant in infectious diseases with Ideal Medical Lab. Let's welcome Dr. Njem Kindong. Hi, Doctor. Good morning.
Hello. Hi, Madam Christie. Glad to be with you.
How are you doing today?
Oh, very, very fine, as you can see from my face.
Okay, that's good.
Thank you.
So we are excited to have you here.
Thank you so
we
much.
want to talk about the Ideal Medical Laboratory. And so for how long have you been operating your lab?
Oh, thank you so very much. Ideal Medical Laboratory was actually conceived as a vision in 2008, and it came to the limelight in 2012, on the 12th of July 2012. The first site was Lido Street, in not too far from Dr. Dewa Ambrose Modern Traditional Clinic. And as we speak of now, it has witnessed a lot of growth and boom. And we now have it as a complex. The first one is at the Kunz building, the second one is at the Union Bank's building. And what do we actually envisage in Ideal Lab? We are taking diagnosis to a different level. And in the pipeline, we intend to create a research center so that one part of it will be doing the diagnostic, the other one will be conducting research to add to the pool of existing knowledge. That is how we could screenshot Ideal Lab for our viewers.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's a powerful vision you have there.
Thank you so much, Madam Christie.
So you had conceived this vision in 2008, and at that time, why did you not think about Ideal Clinic or Ideal Clinic? You went for the lab instead.
Thank you so much, Madam Christie. Normally there's what we call the technical competence. In 2007 was when I had a degree in medical laboratory sciences, and I was like, what do I do with this degree? That's how Ideal Medical Lab was conceived. And later on, when I went in for a master's in medical microbiology and parasitology, dubbed infectious disease, that's when I thought we could create now Ideal Medical Complex. And today we have the Ideal Medical Complex. Later on, with that test for more knowledge, I later went for a PhD in cellular molecular parasitology. And that is the brain behind making one of that part of that complex to be a research center. So I go first for the technical competency, then I create a ground to exercise the newly acquired skills.
That's powerful.
Thank you.
All right, so besides doing your test, what other services do you offer there at the lab?
Okay, right now as we speak, Ideal Medical Laboratory has witnessed a growth and a boom. Like now we have surgeons like Dr. Abeng and the others. They come for all minor surgeries, hernias. We could actually take care of them. This is very important because we are living in the middle of the Anglophone crisis, and you have these doctors without borders running up and down. So the Ideal Medical Center is also a center where we could carry out some emergency surgeries to save life, because sometimes we go to our bigger hospital, the doctors are not on call, but when called for private, they show up immediately because they tend to benefit much more from such private services. Private services in Cameroon is still growing, and a lot of attention has not been given to it, but it's actually the center where you really get, medical services. You don't actually pay for them. They are almost always free, because when you look at the technical competency put in place, and in the private setting, we consider you like from where you come and from where you are. So we consider your background, your life history, your clinical history before we take care of your immediate needs. And when you look at the conception of health from World Health Organization, no human being is healthy per se, no human being, because look at the physical, the psychological, and the social. These are the three aspects of health, and when you consider them in detail, nobody's healthy. In Ideal Lab, we really try to meet the needs of these three.
Okay, that's good. So for someone who is watching and asking, like, what kind of test can I come and do at the Ideal Medical Lab?
First of all, first and foremost, all routine tests are done at Ideal Medical Laboratory, but that is not what makes Ideal Laboratory ideal. There are tests that are not done in other hospitals. Almost every hospital in Kumba, they refer to Ideal Lab. So we have this like blood culture. We have like culture tests. We have endocrinology. Think of somebody who is unable to make children, and in a lady, suppose it's in what we call a hormonal imbalance. and ID Medical Laboratory can be corrected. Okay. We work with almost all the gynecologists in Meme. Okay. So that is the uniqueness of Ideal Medical Center.
That's good. So is there any test that you cannot do, and do you refer patients sometimes to other
Yes, we do have partners. We work with the Deido District Hospital in Douala. Okay. That's one of our partners. Okay. Since sometimes there are certain reagents, when we obtain them here in Kumba, the inflow of patients will not make you to cover the cost of those particular tests and reagents. Okay. Now you need to work with a partner lab, but 90% of the tests are actually done in ID lab in situ, on the spot.
Okay, that's
exactly.
Good. That's good. That's good. Okay, so the last time you did a spot and you talk about the tests you do for free, what are some of these opportunities that you have?
Oh, right now as we talk, we've included malaria, you know. Okay. We intend to eradicate malaria by 2030, according to the World Health Organization Charter. So as we speak for now, Ideal Medical Laboratory will run malaria tests for free. You do stool analysis for free, tests for intestinal fungi for free, intestinal worms too for free. And there is another rare disease that ID Medical Laboratory is actually part of a eradication project. It's a project that we just won, and it's called schistosomiasis, bilharzia. Okay. So we've been to Baron Bimbo, a village that is rich in this disease. Then our next target will be Munyenge. Okay. Yes. That's good. And on the 9th, I think on the 9th of January, we granted a press conference in this perspective. Oh, okay. There was a press conference that was talk of the day in Kumba as a whole.
All right. So you recently won an award. Is it from Dream FM?
Yes. Okay. Dream FM in Boya. Recently, yes. ID Lab, the services to humanity, was recently recognized by Dream FM in Boya, and an award was presented. I wish I was here to show the award, but I promised to all our Taylor viewers, to Madam Christie and the CEO, that when next I am coming here, I'm going to come with the award, and that's going to finalize yet another partnership deal between KCBS and ID Medical Complex.
Okay, that's good. All right, congratulations on that.
Oh, thank you so very much.
There are many more awards coming in the future.
Amen.
All right, so tell us about your branches. You said you have two branches in Kumba.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we have the first branch, which is the mother branch, is at the Kunz Complex, former Jehovah Witness building. This branch is the nascent research center. Okay. So there we do mostly culture, like we have the machines for bacteriology culture. And I know you certainly asked me what is culture. It's very simple, Madam Christie. You are unique the way God created you. So the bacteria that live in you, they are also unique and they adapt to your body. So when you come to ID Medical Center, the center that we could isolate virtually every infectious agent from you. If you are suffering from typhoid, we will isolate the causative agent, which is Salmonella typhi. And we try to experiment, having the bacteria in our hands. We try to experiment with the various drugs that we have in Kumba to see which one will treat your own Salmonella typhi. One thing we should know is that a drug will treat you and may not treat the CEO. I may not treat me. So we are unique in our genetic makeup, and ID Medical Laboratory, we do that. And this is very important because we inform doctors on their choice of antibiotics. Which antibiotics should be used for typhoid? Which antibiotics should be used for malaria? Which antibiotics should be used for Neisseria gonorrhea? Which antibiotics should be used for syphilis? That's the center. That's what ID Medical Lab is trying to do. And still talking about that award like that, it came, and when I asked the people why they had to choose ID Lab, ID Lab has been very instrumental in information, education, and communication to the general public. It reaches out to people far and wide, not only for their personal gain, but to educate the people, because the standard of the human being is the mindset. When you are not informed, you are deformed. So ID Lab places information, education, and communication in the heart of Kumba, and everybody. Health is the highest human asset. I've said it over and over, and I'll keep harping on that. Okay, that's good. So tell us a little bit more about your charity project. You know, you've talked about it, but just give us, let's understand, like, how would it look like? You said you're going to the two areas you'll be visiting. Exactly. Now, before I talk, let me come back to the other complex at Union Bank building. This one is very open to the population, because most people, the way of entry into ID Lab now is mostly through the one at Union Bank. It is the dichotomy and the kind of test you need to do that will now channel it, whether you should go to the other or to this one. So that's basically, and in there we have an MD, Dr. Okay, Mokosa Hope. She's died like this main person. So now I'm more of only advocacy, promotion, and all of that. You will not find me behind doing things. But what we do now is mostly research, which has to do with the charity. ID Lab has a project to eradicate schistosomiasis in 3 villages in the southwest region. We have Koto Barombi, we have Barombimbo, and we have Munyenge. As we speak for now, the highest center where we have this schistosomiasis is Munyenge. Munyenge has a population of 20,000 people. Although there's been a new focus of schisto in Tico, the main and the biggest focus of schistosomiasis now is Munyenge as we speak.
So how would the local man called schistosomiasis?
It's called bilharzia, a rare worm that lives in your urinary bladder. Bilharzia.
Okay.
Yes, that's the ancient name for it.
So what are the effects of that?
Okay, when you have this schisto, they live there, they can cause a form of cancer which we call carcinoma of the bladder. You can also see young people passing out blood. It's very common. When you go to those areas, they think that passing out that bloody urine, hematuria, is a sign of maturity. That's how culture can misinform people. But in reality, it's a worm that lives in their urinary bladder, and because the worm is hematophagous, it feeds on blood cells, it kind of ejects its own eggs, and the eggs then they pass through, they bore through, they actually create some micro holes in your urinary bladder, and since the blood, the worms, they live in blood, so there will be leakage of blood from the blood vessels into the urinary bladder, and you are bound to experience what we call hematuria, which is the presence of blood in urine. It's very common in endemic areas, areas that are inhabited by these worms.
Okay, I see. All right, thank you so much. But give us your contact. Give us the contact of the Ideal Medical Laboratory, because people might be watching and they want to really contact and probably do some tests with the lab.
Okay, Ideal Medical Lab, you can reach us on the telephone numbers 677 062117. Let me take that number again. 677 062117, and the number is reachable 24/24.
Okay, thank you so much.
You are highly welcome, Madam Christine.
Hopefully we're going to learn that, because I followed one of your, I think it was on radio, you're talking about antibiotic resistance, something like
antimicrobial resistance.
Okay, and I found it very interesting. I think that one time probably the next time you also help us talk about that.
I'm available, just give me a call. Even now I can start, but let's keep it for another day.
I know. All right, thank you, Doc, so much. It was really nice, and I wish Ideal Medical Lab all the best. I will also wish KCBS not only the best, but you people are coming like a pioneer TV station in entire Meme, and you people have the luxury to cover the whole southwest region. So I can say all kudos to the CEO who is looking at me staring in the face. It's an initiative. You went over there, over the seas, you met it, you conquered, and brought it back home. How I wish others could copy like you, so that we can also make our home a befitting place, so that more people will come back and create heaven here. All right. Thank you so much, Doctor. And we'll certainly be working together.
Okay, I'm so willing.
All right. So let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to welcome our next guest.